morning, boys and girls. We have our Have a Heart food drive today, and who's with us? Mayor McCormick, and we want to welcome him, and he's going to talk to you all about the Have a Heart food drive, okay? All right, here you go, Mr.
Thank you,
Mayor.
Madam Principal. First of all, thanks for letting us come out here today to be with you. This is always one of the most fun days of the year. The third graders at Robert Mascenik School, we talk about the collection of the food, and then we play questions and answers with the mayor, which is always fun. Yeah. See, third grade's my favorite grade for questions and answers with the mayor, right? Because like first, second grade, kindergarten, like they ask silly questions, right? Like, do you have a boat? Do you have a big car? And like fifth and sixth graders, like they're just too cool. They don't care anymore. So third grade's perfect. So anyway, we have this Have a Heart food drive. And well, let me ask you guys, who wants to answer the question, why do you think it's so important to have a food drive in January and February? Yes, why?
Because in January and February around here, since it's Valentine's Day plus, you can't grow crops and foods very easily in this season, so some people might starve, and we don't want people to starve to death.
All right, that's a pretty good answer, because it's tough to grow crops in the January and February. What else? Yes, what?
Because people might not have enough money for food, and it could be very cold.
Right, it could be very cold. People don't have enough money for food. But think about, here's where I'm going. Think about like in Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the holidays. What do people always think about? What?
They always think about giving other people things.
Right, they think about it during the holidays. But then what happens when the holidays are over? What?
They don't.
They don't. Exactly. That's why it's so important that we do this in January and February. And we call it the Have a Heart food drive because it coincides with Valentine's Day. And we ask people to give either 214 pounds of food or $214, companies and people. Why do you think the number 214 is important? Why is 214 important? Why?
Because it's the day of Valentine's Day.
Because it's Valentine's Day. Boy, you guys are really smart today. You guys are really on your game. 214 is Valentine's Day. I guess that's a good thing we don't do it on Christmas. Then you'd have to do 1,225 pounds of food, right? But we should do it on Christmas. We'd get more food. So what you did today is very, very important because, sad to say, but in Woodbridge, a lot of people go to bed hungry. You don't like to think about it, but there's these people in the back here who are responsible. They work in all the different food banks. So there's a whole bunch of steps in the process, but the very first step is your job, which you just did very successfully looking at all this food. That's the very first step. And then what happens is we take the food and we bring it over to our health center. It all gets put together in one big room. And then Peter, who I'll introduce in a minute, Peter is responsible then for making sure it gets sent out to the different food pantries. Who knows what a food pantry is? Anybody want to take a shot? Yes.
It means like where your food is stored?
Where the food is stored, right? And who comes to the food pantry?
People who can't afford
People who can't afford food. They come to the food pantry and they pick up the food, or sometimes they drop it off to the people's houses. So that's how it works. You were the very first step in the process. You got all the food and you brought it here. Now Peter takes it back and he divides it up, and all these wonderful people here come and pick it up and they bring it to their food pantries. Most of them are in church or some kind of house of worship. That's where most of the people go when they want to get the food. And there's even a soup kitchen where people can go once a week to get a hot meal, which is really important too. So I'm going to ask Peter if he will come up. Peter, he's not even listening to me. Doesn't he know I sign his paychecks? What happens if I forget to sign his paycheck one day? You can't cash it. The bank's going to say, No, Mr. Peter Barcelona. I don't see the mayor's signature on your paycheck. Get out of here. Anyway, this is Peter. He does a great job for this town. Let him say a few words.
Thanks, boys and girls. Again, thank you for the generous donation of food. As the mayor says, you know, people during the holiday season are very generous, and we're very appreciative of those that donate during the holiday season. But as we get into the winter and into spring, our donations drop drastically. But our demand at the food pantry stays the same. So it requires a lot of food to feed a lot of people. Our pantries feed about 600 families a month. We have 11 food pantries scattered throughout Woodbridge Township. Probably over 100 volunteers that man those food pantries every day, making sure people, you know, for whatever situations that they're in, have food, because we all know we all need food to survive. So on behalf of all those people that I have the privilege of serving, you know, we say thank you.
All right, so let me ask you another question now. Why is it important that we collect money, not just food? Why do you think? Why?
Because some people may not have enough money to buy them.
Okay, but we don't actually give them the money, but that's correct. Who else? Who didn't answer a question yet? Why do we collect money? Why?
So the people that don't have money, they can buy food.
Right. But what's missing up here? What do you see all this food, right? What kind of food is missing that you can't really collect? What?
Maybe like some.
You're there, Yanni. You're going to say it right. Go ahead.
Some, like foods you can't collect, or like foods that are
You got it. Come on, keep going.
foods that maybe like are like really, it's like foods you can't collect that
Give me an example.
it's like when you put like when you get foods they're too hard to like put
All right, you're getting there. Yes. What?
water, you take care of it.
Water. What's kind of where I'm going, but not really. How about you?
Like food that are like really expensive.
Oh, that's food, expensive food, maybe. What else?
Dairy.
Why? Tell me about that. Why?
Dairy stuff like milk, you need to put in the refrigerator.
Right, that's what I'm looking for. We don't have milk. Because if you can't collect milk and leave it in the room, what happens to it?
Gets rotten.
Gets rotten. Gets spoiled. Right? And what else are we missing? What other kind of food are we missing besides milk? What? What's that? Hot food. What else? What?
Foods that can't be packaged.
Food that can't be packaged. What else?
Frozen food.
Frozen food. Very good. What else? Fruits. Very good. Well, you couldn't do fruit sometimes. All right, so we're missing like milk and bread and cheese and stuff like that. That's the perishable food. That's why when you see the advertisements for the food drive, they ask for non-perishable foods. That means food that can't go bad. You get a box of Cheerios, that'll last for years, unless I see it first. Right? I love Cheerios. So anyway, well, let me ask Jake, one of the guys here that works in the Avenel Presbyterian Church. He has been working in the food pantry for years. Jake, you want to come up and say a few words? He's one of the best people around because when we collect all the food at that place I talked about, Jake's the kind of person that comes and collects his share of the food, brings it all back to the church, divides it up and figures, okay, this goes to this family, this goes to this family, and then he takes some of the money and buys the food that's perishable and gives that to the people. So Jake, why don't you say a few words about what's going on here?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I would like to thank you, Peter, and all the merchants of Woodbridge who are dedicated on helping us out in collecting all of the food that we need. And thank you, children, because without you, we could not be here today. Because of you collecting food, we can help the hungry. So thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else from the food banks want to say anything? Peg? No? All right. Let me ask now Debbie Meehan. Debbie's a council person. She works with us in Town Hall, and she runs a business in Colonia. Most of you probably live in Island, right? Some of you live in Colonia? All right, so Debbie is a council person. You haven't had 4th grade civics yet, but there's different branches of government, and I'm in one branch and Debbie's in a different branch, and we're supposed to check on each other and make sure nobody has too much power. That's your fourth grade civics lesson right there. That's the whole thing. It comes down to just that. So anyway, Debbie runs a business, a newspaper, and she works with a whole bunch of people in Colonia called the CBC, Colonia Business Community. And every year they have the Taste of Colonia, and they bring a bunch of restaurants together, and they charge people to come in and taste all their food. And she raises a lot of money, and then she gives it over to Peter, and Peter uses it to buy the perishable food. That's the story. Debbie, go hold this.
There you go. Good morning, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. I see everybody has their red on today. So just like the mayor said, we do an event, the CBC, the Colonia Business Community, comes out and they work real hard on this event, and we're able to raise some money where the mayor was saying sometimes up here we have no fruit or vegetables or milk, so this money will go to get some good, nice, fresh produce for families. You're very, very lucky. Every day you get to wake up and you get to eat, and there are a lot of children that are your age that don't get to eat every day. So it's so important what you do by collecting food. So as you get older, keep collecting food and keep taking care of people in your community, because it's very, very important. So on behalf of the Colonia...
Let's guess.
Oh, how much money do you think I raised?
How much money do you
or
think
we
they
raised, the
raised?
Colonia Business.
Oh, no, 214.
Good guess.
That's smart. That's a smart young man. You're right. You're right. No, this is way bigger. Yes. More than 1,000. No, 1
million.
million.
We're taking care of Woodbridge.
1 million? Oh boy, no. More than 1,000, but less than 1 million. No, 3 million is more than 1 million. You're going in the wrong direction. Yes.
1,002.
1,000. No, don't go up in increments of $2. Yes.
4,000.
Oh, you're getting there. A little higher. Yes.
5,000.
A little higher.
6,000.
Less. What?
5,500.
Yes. 50.
Got it.
$5,500. Look at that. Now, Peter, how much food will that buy?
A lot of food.
Right?
Those that belong to the community food bank at Hillside purchase food at a very reduced rate, 15, 18
So there's
cents
food.
a pound.
There's a big food bank that all the different places in the state go, and they buy a whole bunch of milk and a whole bunch of cheese and a whole bunch of fruit, and then each pantry gets some of this money, and they go buy it for their people. Isn't that cool? Really cool, right?
Yeah.
Come on, be more enthusiastic. All right, let me get a picture to make. We got pictures for Facebook. It doesn't happen unless it goes on Facebook. If you have an event and you don't put it on Facebook, then the event never happened. Because it's all got to go on the mayor's Facebook page. All right, now we have what we always do, which is one of my favorite parts of the day, is we have questions and answers of the mayor. Now, the only rule is you have to ask a question. You can't say, Mayor, I saw you at the parade. I don't care. No, I don't care. It's got to be a question, which means it's got to begin with who, what, where, when, why, or how. Got that? Who, what, where, when, why, or how. Who wants to start? Got the perishables. You go first.
How does it feel like being the mayor?
How does it feel like being the mayor? It feels great. It's the best job in the world. I don't know if God made me for the job or God made the job for me, but he put us together and there we are. And I love it. It's great, yes.
How important is being mayor?
How important is being mayor? Good question. I think it's very important because somebody has to run the town and make sure everything goes right. So I think it's a very important job, yes. Nice glasses, by the way. Stand up and turn around. They're the coolest glasses. Yeah, look at that. All right. Take a picture, Meg. Did you wear that for me?
Yeah.
You got the hearts for me. Oh. Oh. Okay, what's your question?
Do you have any communication with the president?
No. No, not a good question though. I have communication with the federal government, but not directly with the president. I do have communication with the congressman, Mr. Pallone, and I do have communication with the two senators, Mr. Menendez and Mr. Booker, but I don't have direct communication with the president. Think about the president. There's like, I don't know, how many, 300 million people? How many 100 million people? 350 million people like that? He can't communicate with everybody, but I do talk to the congress people, yes. What do I do as mayor? I'll ask you what I do as mayor. There is one word that describes what I do, and it's a 4-letter word. All right, go ahead. Work? No, I do work. What? You were going to say work?
Help?
Help? Oh, that's a very good one, but I do help. I do help, but my main responsibility is this one word. What? Lead. How'd you get that so soon? Usually you have to give clues like it begins with an L, and then people start to say love, live, life. No, I lead. That's what I do. I lead. My job is to figure out where Woodbridge needs to be, and then I put together a team and we make decisions to get us there. So we figure out what we want to do and we get there. That's the main job of a mayor, is to lead. Yes?
What's your favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job is probably what I'm doing now, coming out to the schools and talking to the kids, except the kindergarten kids. I was just at school 24, and we did the same thing we're doing here. We did a food drive and we thanked them and everything. But then they start talking, I don't even know what they're saying. I don't know how these teachers, I can't even understand them. And they don't know, they're just kindergarten kids. You remember when you were in kindergarten? Yeah? The difficult times, right? That's why 3rd graders are the best, yes. How old am I? You never ask a man his age. I won't even ask, how old do you think I am? 54. No, not bad. I'm 61. I'm 61. I know, I don't look it. I know, yes. What inspired me to be the mayor? Very good question. I used to work for the town. I was the town's accountant, which means I was in charge of all the money that came in and all the money that went out. So I worked for the mayor for 10 years. So I really got to see what it was like being the mayor. And then I left that job and went to become the state's accountant for 4 years. And then when I saw a chance to run for mayor, I wanted to run for mayor. That's because I saw how the job, what it was all about. I said, that's something I want to do someday. Yes?
Is being mayor hard work?
Is it hard work? Sometimes, but very little times. Mostly it's easy. But sometimes it's hard. Yes?
What happens if there is no mayor?
What happens if there's no mayor? The whole town falls apart. And everybody has to move out. No, there's always going to be a mayor. If something happens to me right now, the council president becomes the mayor. So the mayor before me passed away in office. And there always has to be a plan. It's called a succession plan. So there's always a plan when something happens to the top person. So the council president at that point instantly became the mayor until they went through the process of getting another mayor. Yes?
Have you been a student for this school?
Have I been a student?
Have you been a student in the school?
Have I been a student? Yeah, I was a student when I was your age. I went to school right around the corner at St. Cecilia's School, a big orange building. Now it's School 29. Yes?
What are you going to do after you're mayor?
What am I going to do after I'm mayor? Good question. I'm always going to be mayor. I'm never going to not be mayor. I'm going to be mayor up until the end of the day. But no, I don't know what I'm going to do after I'll be mayor. I'll probably go fishing, and I don't know what I'll do, but I haven't thought about it. I'm not even thinking about not being mayor. Yes?
How much money do you get paid a year?
How much money do I get paid a year? I think I get about $150,000. I think. It's pretty good. It was really low when I started, but we slowly raised it. Yes?
What do you do in your free time?
What do I do in my free time? I like to do puzzles. I'm a jigsaw puzzle freak. I always have a jigsaw puzzle on my dining room table. And I like to fish, and I like to watch baseball games, and I like to go to baseball games. Who didn't ask a question yet? Yes?
When it was election day, how did you feel when you got elected?
I felt great. I had 5 elections so far, and each one feels great. When 8 o'clock rolls around and you're all sitting around a room and people are at the different, this is a polling place too, you vote here. And people get the numbers and they call me up and they say, you won this district, you had 44 votes, the other guy only had 42. And I keep track of it and we add it all up and then I win. Yes? What's it like being mayor? It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun most of the time. I like to say if there's 100 minutes, then I'm having fun 95 minutes. But 5 minutes, it's tough. It gets difficult. Yes?
How often is it?
I've been mayor 13 years, 3 months, and 1 day. November 13th, 2006 was my first day as mayor. Yes?
Are there a couple of challenges?
Are there challenges? Yes, very much so. There's a lot of challenges. You got to really sometimes make difficult decisions. And that's why I say 5% of the time it's hard. Most of the time it's easy, but sometimes you have to really make difficult decisions. You know, when, like, for example, when people do something wrong that work for me and for the town, and we have to discipline them because they did something wrong, that's difficult. It's not easy, yes.
Do you ever, like, how much time do you ever get as free time?
How much do I get free time? Not much, but enough. Like last night I went to the Devils game. We went, me and 2 people I work with, we went to the game, we had some fun. But you know, most nights I work, and most weekends I work. But that's okay, I love it, yes.
How did you like school when you were in the 3rd grade?
How did I what?
Like school when you were in
How did I like school? I was weird, I loved school. I loved going to
I
school.
don't like weekends that was not.
You don't like weekends because you're not in school?
Well, no, I like the weekends, but I don't like when we like have a day off.
Me too. Don't like when you have a day off. I was like that when I was a kid. I loved to go to school. I couldn't wait to go to school. I don't know what it was. All my friends, I hate school. Not me. I loved it. I loved going to school every single day. Like right now, I love going to work every single day. It's so much fun. Yes?
You know the Clean Communities Assembly?
Yeah.
I wanted to join the team, but can kids join the team?
Can you join which team?
You know the Clean Communities?
Clean Communities. Kids can help. Sure. Have your secretary call my secretary. We'll set up a meeting, and you can come in and we can talk about the Clean Communities program. All right? No, seriously, you can help.
We looked up at the Woodbridge Township website, but we couldn't find it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's there. Megan, make a note of that. Clean Communities. There is a program called Clean Communities Grants, and then we get money and we use them to clean up Woodbridge. Yes.
Is it hard making good decisions?
Is it hard making good decisions? Yes. Sometimes it is very hard. Sometimes it's very hard. Yes.
How did you feel when you first became mayor?
How did I feel when I first became mayor? That's the one that was probably the way I felt the best, because I had never run before, and it's always difficult to put your name on a ballot. A lot of people think it's easy, but you know, when you put your name out there, it's really risky, because if you lose, then people say, oh, he lost. You know, so it's difficult doing that. So the first time I ran was the best time, yes.
Do you think mayor is better being at school?
Is mayor better than being at school? Well, it's better than being at school right now because I'm too big for the desks. So I don't think I could go to school right now and be good in school because I'm too big. But if I made the basketball team, I'd score a lot of points if I was in school right now, right? Yes.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is actually green. Green because A, I'm Irish, B, it's the color of money. Yes.
Do you have any contact with the Navy?
With the Navy? No, but I know a lot of veterans who were in the Navy, but I don't have any direct contact with the Navy, yes. When I was young, how many friends did I have? A lot, a decent amount, I guess. You know, I had Victor and Sparky and Okie and Rippy, and everybody had a nickname. Nobody had their real name. Like I was Johnny Mac. I was always Johnny Mac. Mac. None of my friends we never called anybody by their real name. We always called people by their nickname. But I had a decent amount of friends. Yes?
What are the qualifications for a mayor?
Qualifications, only 3 things to be the mayor. You got to be 18, you have to live in Woodbridge, and you have to be incredibly good looking. That's all, those 3. No. 18, live in Woodbridge, and be a citizen of the United States. That's the only 3 rules, yes.
What age do you think you will retire?
What age do I think I'll retire at? Ooh. Let me see. 3 more terms would make me 73. That's maybe when I'll retire, yes.
What made you achieve your goal?
What made me achieve my goal? Hard work and determination and perseverance and just hard work. Just don't ever stop working hard and you'll get what you strive for, yes.
Did anybody bully you?
When I was little, did anybody bully you? Yo, yeah, I was a small kid. I'm a very large human being now. I'm jumbo-sized. But when I was a kid, I was tiny. I was in my 8th grade class, I was in the front like you lined up in order to graduate, and I'll bet I was in the bottom 20%. When I was a freshman in high school, I weighed 115 pounds. Whoa. That's nothing now. You kidding me? Now I weigh... But yeah, I was a small kid. I was a very small kid. And was I bullied? Yes. Yes, a lot of times. Because I wasn't... I was like a nerdy kid. Like I was a bookworm. I was always studying. I was always trying to get good grades. I wasn't good at sports. In fact, I was terrible in sports. In fact, I'm still terrible in sports. But I was like I got picked on a little bit. Yeah, I got picked on. But back then they didn't have anything, there was no such thing as bullying. I mean, there was bullying, but no one recognized it or dealt with it. It just happened, yes.
Did your friends help you when you got bullied?
Did my friends help me? No, most of my friends got bullied too. Because we weren't the cool kids. Like when I was a kid, there was cool kids like I called them the jocks, the athletes, the sports guys, you know, they were really cool. And I wasn't cool. I was, like I said, I was a nerdy kid. So the bullies, the cool kids always picked on the nerdy kids like me. But guess what? Now I'm the mayor and they're not. They're not. There was one kid who picked on me in the 8th grade, and guess what? Now he works for me. He works for me. You think his job is going to be easy from now on? No. So I'll tell you a story. So you put your hands down for a minute. I was working for an accounting firm right after I got out of college. And the accounting firm had to hire somebody to be the accountant. And since I knew the company and I knew the job that was required, they asked me to help with the interviews. So I would sit in on the interviews and tell them which people I thought were going to be a good accountant for them. So as we're sitting there, and they bring one person in, they sit down, we ask them questions, and then they bring somebody else in, they sit down, we ask them questions. Well, when I was in high school, there was this one guy named Tom, let's not use his last name, but Tom used to bully me. He was not nice to me. And guess what one day happened? There I am sitting in the interviews, and I'm helping them figure out who to hire. Who do you think walked in to try to get a job at that company? Who? Tom. And there he was. And he walked in the room, and he looked at me sitting around the desk with all the executives from the company, and his jaw dropped. He said, uh-oh, I guess I'm not getting this job. Because there's John McCormick over there, and I used to bully him in high school. Right? Yeah. So you never know. And the truth is, I didn't use it against him. I forgave him. It was okay. I don't even know if he ever got the job, but that's not important. I didn't say don't hire him. I could have. I could have easily said don't hire him. He bullied me in school, but I didn't. Because you forget. You forgive and forget. But it just goes to show you, you never know. Your mother might be in charge of your father in 10 years in a job, and you might be looking for a job, and her mother might be the head of the company, and you might own the company, and he wants to get a job with you. You never know. You never know. So that's why you always have to be nice to people. Right? It's simple. Just be nice. Just be nice. Yes, who's got questions now? Yes.
One more.
Oh, one more question? All right, yes, last question.
Sometimes when you have to fit out.
Sometimes when I what? Fit it out what?
You're not the same as everyone else.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I fit in, I guess. Yeah, I fit in. I was just, different, a little bit different. All right, last question.
If you had any other job other than mayor, what would it be?
Any other job other than mayor, what would it be? I would probably go back to being an accountant, where I did people's taxes and I helped them with their finances and figured out their retirement and how much money they needed to save, and I did all that kind of financial stuff. That's what I would do again.